Okay, back again for another Carpool Confession. This one's gonna be a good one. I actually have a lot to do today. After I finish up today, got to go show some new houses out in Henderson. I believe these guys actually came out to the office to show what we had and got some real nice homes that I'm gonna go show somebody. As a matter of fact, another great YouTube client, and I think they're just gonna really love it. But today, we're going to talk about a little something relates to housing a little bit, and it kind of goes all the way back to high school and me being a nerd, kind of nerd in high school too. And remember metaphor and simile? This isn't about simile, but it's about metaphor. So getting back to that nerd thing, I bought a laser. Yep, a laser. Laser. xTool P3. So it's more of an industrial type laser. And yet may ask why in the world you have a laser. I actually have a lot of lasers. I mean, a lot. This is going to probably be my end all be all laser. And what I use the lasers for when I have time, I actually run out of a lot of time, especially now with all these emails and all the AI and all this crap, is I like to make my gifts for my clients. I don't like to just go buy stuff. I like to make stuff for people because, it gives me a little bit of solace. Plus, they're hyper personalized. I don't just like make it from scratch. I'll, like personalize, like a cutting board or something like that. Make, those nice custom sports mugs, so on and so on. But anyway, this was not, something typical. It's big. Most people who have a laser like this, they run a business. Keep it in like their garage. They have a workshop or something. Well, I have what I call my laser room upstairs. And I bought this laser, and instead of putting it on a credit card, I had to put it on credit. So if you put it on the credit card, you got that gold card, you got the platinum card, you got a little bit of insurance in case something happens. This is a very, very, very expensive laser. And of course, I said I bought it on credit. So if anything happens, it's on me. So xTool reaches out to me, says, would you like to have it, any kind of special delivery, like having it delivered upstairs? I'm like, whoa, bet. So they said, okay, go in, pay this way and all this stuff. So I do. Company reaches out, the one delivery company is like, no, we don't do that. Okay. Have to contact xTool, get my money back. Get some friends, they come over, we do some stuff, and they look at us like, man, that's too big. I ain't doing that. So then I reach out to my handyman, have him recommend somebody. This is where the metaphor starts to come in and how it deals with housing a little bit, because it's a story that kind of ties in. I tell him it's a very large item, and it's probably going to take 2 very strong men or 3 relatively strong men. He quotes me a price for 3 men. First of all, he shows up late, of course, and it's just him. Doesn't say if the other people are showing. I think he was just going to figure he can muscle the heavy item upstairs, not realizing it's something that is super delicate that costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Looks at it and it's like,
oh, that's big and heavy.
Again, not mentioning other folks.
That may take like 3 people.
I'm like, yeah, that's what you're charging me for. So he leaves, not saying that the other people are coming. Following day, shows up, it's him and one other guy. I go, where's the third guy? He looks at me and, of course, lies and says,
oh, he's on his way.
So let's start talking. A lot of times in real estate, we get all these lies and everything from folks. It comes from both ends, both the agents and, of course, the clients. People saying, oh, don't worry, my credit's good. Oh, I don't want anyone running my credit just yet. Just everything in the world and hoping somehow it's gonna pass. It's not gonna. Oh, don't worry about checking out the house. The house they don't actually own. That's why if you think you're gonna get away with it, you're not. There are too many checks and balances where very little fraud is gonna be gotten away with in the system. One of my favorite pieces of fraud that I see are people who's going to get a government-backed loan thinking they can use it for an investment. I had this one guy, he wanted to get a place to use as a rental, and he wanted to use an FHA loan. And I'm telling him, he keeps like in front of me trying to commit mortgage fraud. And I keep going, please don't say things in front of me that's a commitment of mortgage fraud, like asking me things like how much you think I can rent this place for. He'll be going like,
Oh yeah, I'm using it for myself.
and then 5 minutes later,
So you think I can get XYZ rent for this place?
think, after lying about the third guy and everything, who never did show up, of course, he goes, well,
I don't think this will get through the door and everything.
I go, well, I measured out everything, the path, and instead of just arguing with the guy, I go, here's a tape measure. Why don't you just go ahead and measure it in the box to see that it goes through the door? And I've measured everything. I have everything set for exactly the way it needs to get into my laser room. First of all, takes the box off of it. I sit there and I try to explain everything to the guy about the way I wanted to deliver because it's so precious. I wanted it to stay in the box because I didn't want anything dinged on my precious laser that I had to make payments on. And he takes the box off and I'm like, I really want this in the box. I had everything measured for it to be in the box. But of course, why would you listen to me? So he measures, oh yeah, it'll fit through. Okay. And of course, then they try to start muscling it without the box. I don't know why, but why listen? Which is what we get with a lot of people who are trying to buy and sell houses. So I had this one person trying to sell their house. Interesting. So I gave him plenty of time to get the place ready to, take pictures and all. So we show up to take the pictures. No, I actually hire professional photographers. We show up and I guess they had like a couple of pit bulls. They kept them out in the backyard and they had never cleaned up after the pit bulls after all that time. So you know what was back there. Sink full of dishes, a layer of dust. At one point, the photographer looks at me and goes, are you sure you want to continue with this? They had an entire week, didn't do anything, but yeah. And this is during normal times, not during COVID or anything. And the same people will always wonder, why didn't anyone come see my house? It's because, I don't know, you didn't listen. If you had an entire week to get your house ready for photos so you can try to sell it, it's kind of normal, right? That you get your house ready. Even got so bad, his wife, he was about my age, and his wife was like 23 years old from another country, from South America. She didn't want to get out the bed. So she just pulled the covers over her head while the photographers took the pictures in the bedroom. Yeah. So anyway, I bought all kinds of equipment to move this very, very, very expensive laser. And I even went so far as to buy, of all things, you ready for this? A stair-climbing dolly. To make sure it wouldn't be such a big deal to get it upstairs. A stair-climbing dolly. I didn't even know these things existed. They climb the stairs. So I sit there and I show it to him, stair-climbing dolly. I bought them like these little vest things that you can buy. I mean, I went all out, and that you can like harnesses, and you can like put straps under stuff and like lift them up. And for some reason, guy goes to the truck, brings out two, like straps you strap things down to, and like loop them around to put around their necks to try to lift the thing up. And I'm like, why in the world would you do this? There are vests there where it will support stuff with your body.
Oh, we can use these?
I sat there and I pointed the stuff at them. Not listening. So after they get the straps underneath with the box off the laser, after I asked them multiple times to, keep it in the box, they lifted to put onto one of the little roller dolly things, even though I had the stair climbing dolly there to make life easy. The way they did it is the little harness thing also had the ones, like you can lift with your your forearms. So they try the forearm portion of it instead of snapping it into the vest to use their entire body to make things easy. And they're trying all kinds of ways to lift. I'm like, why don't you just I don't know, cinch it down to where all you have to do is stand up. At one point, one of them, who was a short little guy, puts it all the way up here to try to lift it up. Again, I keep going, why don't you just use a little thing, you know, adjust it, cinch it down, then you just stand up instead of doing all this crazy stuff. But no, they just just kept doing it their own way. So the seller, at one point, had somebody go over to look at the house, and he was supposed to be home that day. So I told them, they needed to ring the doorbell. I get a call back, and they go, well, nobody's answering. Well, let me give the guy a call. So I call him up, and he's like, oh, yeah, somebody's supposed to come look at the house. Let me go take care of it. I get a call 5 minutes later from the agent. It says, yeah, the guy came down, opened the door, and said, go away. Go away. What? So I called the guy up, and I'm going like, the agent just said, you just came down and told him to go away. That's not the first of crazy stuff the guy did. And then we went temporarily off the market because he was going to fix some stuff in the house that I kept telling him he needed to fix, and never got fixed. It was actually, of the 6 months that it was supposed to be on the market, it was off the market for 4 of those months. He never got any of that stuff fixed. And he would do stuff like that. And then, let's say he would have an appointment, he would go, are they going to buy the house? I'm like, they haven't even seen the house. Well, I need to know if they're going to buy the house before I waste my time showing it to them. And then at the end of the 6 months, he goes,
The house didn't sell. Why didn't you sell the house?
believe it or not, that happens more often than you think. So anyway, instead of using the stair-climbing dolly, these folks decide to just muscle it up the stairs. They get it up, and then when they get to my laser room, as you know or may not know, interior doors are more narrow than exterior doors. The laser is wider than interior doors. I had a plan for that. Combat planning for years, planned many combat operations. I already had a plan for that. I had a dolly at the top of the stairs, at a landing, at an exact angle, that when you got to the top of the stairs, you put everything on the side so it will go around a corner and into the door. All angles measured. No, they decide to move the dolly someplace else, take the laser on around, carrying it, and then try to muscle it into the door. I sat there watching the Keystone Cops continue to do this over and over again, to a point where I went, there's this thing called physics, and physics exists. I actually had to text somebody while they were doing it because it was so funny. They kept trying over and over again to take an item that was wider than the door and put it into the office or the laser room over and over again. And the person texted back, that's the definition of insanity, over and over again. So I said, well, why don't you try the whole thing about putting it on the side? So then right there in the area where it's way too narrow to do it in, they finally tried to put it on the side on the dolly I had put at the top of the stairs in an area where it was wide enough to put it on the stairs. So right there in the area where it's too narrow to put it on the side, they attempt to put it on the side instead of in the area where it calculated that it would be the most conducive to do this. So I had this buyer once. This was back during COVID when everybody was making offers, 30, 50,000 over. They wanted the absolute perfect house in the world. I kept saying, well, everybody's offering 50,000 or more, but they wanted the absolute most perfect move-in house in the world. And they had gotten offering $65,000 more, and they kept losing. I said, well, why don't you just get one that's not the absolute most perfect house in the world, pay the list price or maybe even less, take that $65,000, because it will not take you $65,000 to fix that house up. It wouldn't take more than 6 weeks. You've been at this for months. fix it up and make it even better than move-in ready, and you'll actually save money and have exactly what you want.
No, we want a move-in ready house.
They just kept doing it over and over again, month after month, offering more and more. Like I said, and they got to $65,000. So finally I called them up and it's like, well, we went to a new building. We got exactly what we wanted. They had to wait 8 months for the house to be built, paid even more than they had ever offered on any kind of a resale house, to wait 8 months when they could have paid literally $200,000 less and had exactly what they wanted. So we finally get the laser into the room. And prior to that, actually, I had a large 3D printer. It was actually sitting on top of, we'll call it a shelf, table, whatever. They go,
Oh, well, we need to move the shelf.
I'm like, well, you don't. I've already measured and we can get this in there without moving this. Well, no, I've measured. And I was like, Jesus, I've already done this. We've already done this exercise, but okay. So then they start trying to move this and it's like, oh, you got this very, very expensive 3D printer. Nerd. They're trying to move it. And it's like, wouldn't it be a good idea, because this is a very tall shelf, to move the 3D printer so, I don't know, it doesn't fall over while you're trying to do this, because, you know, that whole center of gravity thing. I don't know, just common sense kind of stuff that some people have. So they finally move it, then put an area that makes it even worse, trying to get the laser on its side, go through all of that. But, you know, we finally get it there, get it onto its stand and everything, into the laser room. In all honesty, if they had done everything I said in the beginning, this was a 15-minute operation. They took over an hour and 15 minutes to do. If they hadn't lied, I mean, I know why he was lying. He charged me, and still charged me, for the 3 men, for 2 to show up, because that's just plain extra money. It's the Vegas way. To take an hour and 15 minutes for a 15-minute job. I'd measured everything out. I did the pre-work. In other words, a good war plan. I had figured out every measurement, every angle, you know, a good war plan. And all they need to do is follow my war plan. That's what a realtor does for you, whether you're buying or selling. A good experience with realtor comes up with a war plan. When you're coming out there and you're overpricing your home, you're not doing the things that you need to do, it takes you longer and you get less money. When you're trying to buy and you're just trying it your way and you're doing certain things, especially, I know the market's not hot now, it's a buyer's market. But when you're doing it your way, that's kind of what happens. Now, I know a lot of realtors don't think the way I do. I come out of a different mentality. I come out of breaking shit and killing people. In order to break shit and kill people efficiently, you have to have a different mindset. And it's not fairy dusting stuff. It's not going to parties. It's not just smiling. It's about efficient operations. That was a 15-minute max operation with everything measured out, everything cleared, having everything pre-positioned in the right way in which a war plan is done. I'm telling you, when you follow the plan, you get more. That's pretty much all I got to say on it. So all my military brothers and sisters, man, y'all know the drill. Alpha, Mike, Foxtrot. The rest of 80% of y'all who are watching this, I'm gonna tell you right now, I love you. I'm gonna keep the lights on for you. Listen to the men and women with the plan. I ain't gonna say the man with the plan. Listen to the folks with the plan. I don't care what the market's doing. If it's going up, it's going down, going sideways, spinning around, there is a plan for it. Just listen to it and you're gonna win. I'm telling you, you will win. So just listen to that plan, do it, and everything's gonna come out fine. And another thing that's gonna help you come out fine, there's a video that's gonna be popping up right here. And when that video pops up, I'd love to meet you over there, get some more of this wisdom. I know I don't drop the same type of wisdom everyone else does. And sometimes it hurts me, or like right here, because there's like a formula to doing these videos. And a lot of times I don't follow that formula. every time I want to go follow the formula, I'll have somebody reach out and it's like, well, you just do things different. Yeah, I know, because I didn't come out of sales. I come out of something completely different. I served this country for over 20 years and I'm here for a completely different reason. And with that, I'm out of here.